What's up, dirty plant hoes and all you dirty plant enthusiasts out there, both official and unofficial? It is I, your ordained dirty plant madam, Rachel. And today we are going to talk about importing plants and what to do when you get them. So there's a lot of different companies that you can import plants from, and I'm not going to recommend any of them because I do not want to be responsible for what shows up at your door. However, I do import a lot of plants and I find that I have good luck with them. Usually for the price that you're going to pay versus what you're going to pay ordering from the States is significantly lower. And because it's significantly lower, it makes it easier to stomach rehabbing something that comes to your front door. So if you get something that's hard to find in the States, like a Monstera Aurea, but you import it from somewhere out of the States, you're going to be more comfortable with more damage, theoretically. There's a lot of Nancys out there that have a lot of problems when plants arrive and they're very upset about things. What I have learned over the course of importing plants is that rarely are they going to look perfect. If they do look perfect, wow, you really hit the jackpot, because a lot of times they spend weeks in the mail. So when you import plants, you're gonna get a box like this. Usually they wrap their plants in newspaper, which is not normally what we do. It's not what I do when I ship plants, but that's the way they do it. They're going to be bare root, and they're also gonna be wrapped in sphagnum. When you open your box like this, you're going to unroll your newspaper containing your plants, or however it is they decided to ship them. You're gonna pull them out, and then it's time for inspection. If you guys like informational videos like this, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, because yeah. So these are some plants right here that I've actually imported most recently. One of them is an Epipremnum Penatum Variegated, and the other one is a Monstera Aurea. When they arrived, I didn't do anything to them. I didn't cut any leaves off because I wanted to show you guys exactly how they arrived. I would say that Monstera and Philodendron ship the best. So if you're gonna make a gamble on an import, I would be more willing to make a gamble on a Monstera, a Philodendron, and even some Aetheriums prove to be pretty hardy when they're being imported. Things like Syngoniums, begonias, and other kind of really sensitive plants, they just don't fare as well, and it's really, really, really hard to get them back to square one once they've been imported. I've failed at many an imported begonia. So we'll start with the Epipremnum Penatum Variegated, and this is exactly how it came to me. I didn't do anything to it. I didn't manicure it at all. I wanted to leave, like, this one just fell off, so there's nothing I can do about it. But it came with 4 leaves, and 2 of them are going to go. You can see where one of these roots actually tried to grow into some of the newspaper. There are several nodes on this Epipremnum. We have like a little underdeveloped baby node right here, and then right here we have a fully developed node with an aerial root. We have another aerial root here and another node. We have another node and aerial root here. We have one here, and also one down at the very bottom. So there's a lot of potential here. A lot of times you're gonna get a lot of weird, funky looking roots. Sometimes you're gonna get root rot, and that's okay. Sometimes that just happens when they're in spag and they're traveling for a long, long time. The first thing that you should do is inspect the root system, of course. And then after you've inspected it, you need to cut off and remove any of the dead or rotting debris from the root area. The second one that I ordered was a Monstera Aurea. The new growth on it doesn't show any variegation whatsoever on either one of these leaves. I just wanted to kind of tell you that's also not something that I'm panicking about right at the moment, because I know that variegation does lie within this node right here, and most likely within these nodes up here. A lot of times when people cut reverted plants and then reroot them, the variegation can reappear. It's all a game of luck. But I do see a lot of variegation right here on this node. That's just a side point. It came with this aerial root that you can see right here. All of this white root tip growth down here was already there. These plants have only been sitting in this pitcher of water for about 48 hours or so, but that was definitely the first thing I did. I opened them up, I inspected the roots. If there had been no viable roots whatsoever, if all of these roots had to be trimmed off, I would do the exact same thing with it, and I would put it into water. This leaf right here is gonna go. I don't have any scissors sitting over here, so Oh yeah. These plants can sit in this pitcher of water for days at a time. When I import plants, usually I just kind of forget about them almost and just kind of let them chill and do their things. But a lot of times what I do with my imports is I will put them into a storage container. When they're in a storage container, the humidity is naturally higher and the root growth is definitely promoted in that environment. So I'm probably going to take this pitcher and I'm going to place it inside of my tote and just kind of let the plants acclimate there in the water. I'm not gonna be in a hurry to do anything with them. I'm not gonna be in a hurry to chop anything off of them. I'm just gonna let them chill. In the event that you do get an import and you can tell that all the roots are rotted and also the stem is super wrinkly and just super soft, there may not be a whole lot that you can do to save that stem or those nodes, but you can always try. Don't give up. Don't give up until it completely turns to mush, because you never know what kind of energy may still be existing in that stem or in those nodes. Okay, we can't all fit in the frame, but this is one of my big Rubbermaid propagation boxes, and a lot of times when I get imports, this is parked right underneath some artificial lighting that I have. If you guys are interested in what lighting I use, you can check out the links in the description below. I put them directly into a Rubbermaid tub and then stick them right under the lights, and then I kind of just forget about them. I don't fuss over them, I don't poke and prod at them, and I just kind of let them recover and do their thing. So I'm going to show you guys a couple of plants that are in this Rubbermaid tub and show you the difference that high humidity makes when you're rehabbing imports. For a good example of what I've done with some import plants in the past, this was all one plant when it came in. It had this stump right here, a big gnarly looking curled up stump, and then it had this top portion. It was a very, very long piece of an imported plant. So I knew there was probably no world in which I wanted a plant that was starting over, needed a fresh start, and was gonna be that tall and gnarly. Well, I went ahead and just chopped it straight in half. The bottom part that I could tell was the bottom part that was already pre-rooted, I stuck in a plastic cup. I put holes on the bottom of it here just to create a little bit of ventilation, and I put that stump in with some regular old sphagnum moss. I do believe that you can do this out in the open and you don't need a tote for it necessarily, but the difference that the tote makes is pretty phenomenal. All of the aeroids that I have put into a Tupperware container always end up getting fuzzy, giant aerial roots on them. It's just proof in the pudding that being in a high humidity area promotes root growth. And if you have an imported plant and some of the roots are suspect, then you need to promote root growth, and you need to promote it fast for the health of your plant in the long term. So as you can see, this stump was a stump. I mean, you can actually see where the growth point came from the stump there, and it was nothing. I was actually pretty unsure about whether or not this was going to work, but it's actually more beautiful than the growth that I had maintained on the import. The regrowth has been slow and painful, although the root growth has been aplenty. You can tell it's inarguable what a tub will do for root growth for something like that. I would just recommend keeping your imported plants in high humidity until you feel confident enough to put them in your home environment. Slow introduction is key. When I do get ready to liberate all the plants from said tote, I will do it by lifting the lid gradually over a period of time. I will gradually lower the amount of humidity, then bring the plants out and put them onto my shelving and make sure to keep my humidifiers filled during that transition process. Because if you've ever seen a plant that went from super high humidity to super low humidity really quickly, it is a sad, sad state. So you do not want to shock your plants once you have been rehabbing them in a Tupperware for quite some time. Importing plants does not always work in our favor. It doesn't always work the way that we want it to work. It's not always the supplier's fault when things don't work out perfectly, right? So I've had a lot of imports and I've had them fail, and then I've had a lot of imports that have done quite beautifully. I've got roots, it's in my Tupperware, it's ready to be moved out of the container. What now? What do I do now? After you slowly transition into a lower humidity type of setting, you're going to want to choose what kind of media you want to plant your import in. Lots of different options. Everybody's on their own path in life. We're all just, beaten or I don't know. We're all different, man. So some things I choose to plant in soil, and some things I choose to put in leca, and some things I just choose to grow in moss. I kind of feel like it's an intuitive thing, and I just make the decision when I'm planting it up. So this right here is an Aetherium Flavo Lineanum, and it has been through all of the processes and steps that I've talked to you about before. This plant, when it was imported, looked pretty good. The root system was pretty bare. I think there was only 2 or 3 chunky boy roots on it. Once this Aetherium got through the soaking process, I had to kind of take a look at the roots and be like, well, what am I gonna do now? I don't check on them constantly, but at the same time, when I do check on them, I want to see what progress is happening. That's why I like things like propagating in water or leca, because if push comes to shove, you can inspect what's going on without disrupting the plant too terrible much. You can just view inside of the leca when you lift it out. And this is gross. Like, I have not cleaned this Tupperware. The water's clean, but the Tupperware is gross. It's real life, you guys. But see, you can kind of just monitor and measure when the roots start to come through the leca. You know, you're probably out of the danger zone at that point. You've got roots, your plant's looking good. It's been a good day. This Warrock right here came all the way from Ecuador. This leaf right here is a reflection of me experiencing the learning curve of Aetherium care and how to get nice, plump, beautiful Aetherium leaves. She's planted in soil. I know, clutch your pearls. It's a real thing to not put Aetheriums in soil. When I saw the root ball that it came with, I don't know, it just felt like a good thing to put it in soil, so that's what I did. It did lose the leaf that it originally had, but it put out a beautiful new leaf, and it was the first import Aetherium that I really learned how to care for, how to rehab, how to pot up when it was done rehabbing. So this is like, she's the queen of knowledge. She's not just beautiful, she's got brains too, and you need to respect it. So that's one Aetherium that I rehabbed and I put into leca. That's one Aetherium that I rehabbed and put into soil. And here's one that still exists to this day in sphagnum moss. It seems to like it. It feels comfortable. Therefore, I feel comfortable. If you guys have any questions about what to do when your import order gets here, leave them down below in the comments section. And there are some really knowledgeable viewers that watch this channel that could definitely help you out. Now, I've got a little update for you. I know it's not exactly an import, but it was a wet stick at one point, and that's exactly how I bought it. I bought it on eBay, sold within the United States as a wet stick, and it is a Monstera Aurea. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but a couple of videos back, I unboxed this from eBay and I cut it into 2, much to the dismay as many of the viewers who watch this channel. And I planted it in some moss, the 2 separate nodes, and this is the progress so far. I'm so excited because the variegation on these look absolutely stunning. If you are left with nodes when you import, there is always the spag it and bag it method, which I forgot to mention. Blasphemy. If there are no leaves left and all you are left with is nodes and you're not quite sure what to do, there's always the spag it and bag it method. Now, I knew I was ordering wet sticks when these came in, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Everybody still calls them wet sticks now. I love wet sticks. Send them to my house. I'll take all the wet sticks. If you do have just a stem, it's very easy to cut it up into node portions. The stem that I ordered had 2 nodes, one here and one here. I put them inside of a Ziploc baggie filled with sphagnum moss that was moistened but not soaking wet. There was no standing water in the bottoms of these bags. I blew air into them, I sealed them shut, and I put them inside the Tupperware. I know that's overkill, but that's just where all those plants go, so that's where they live. I think it has been about 2 months now, and we have 2 leaves on this little guy, and we have 1 leaf on the other. What is so cool about Monstera Aurea is the fact that when the fresh leaf comes in, it's all green. It's like photo something variegation. It comes in all green, and then over a period of time, the variegation starts to develop quite like a photograph. It is so cool because you're not exactly sure what you're gonna get until you get it. You can barely see the variegation on this one, but it's going to be very dappled. It actually looks like half of that leaf is all green and the other half of the leaf has like a mottled yellow type of variegation. Very hard to see right now. Other half of the Monstera looks like this, and that's what that little leaf looks like, and that has more of a patchy yellow variegation. And to be honest, that's really what I was hoping for. I really wanted some patchy sectoral I do like the mottled looking variegation, but I want the big patches. I want the sectoral. And doesn't everybody, if we're all being honest with ourselves, don't we all want that? That's all I've got to share with you guys today. I hope that shed a little light on what you can do with some of these plants when they come in from an import order. And the biggest thing is probably just not stress out, because, you know, they can hear you when you stress out. Once they all know that you're stressing out, they conspire against you and they try to die. I'm just kidding, that doesn't happen at all. If you like this video, be sure and give it a big, fat, nasty thumbs up. And if you haven't joined the Dirty Plant Hoe family yet, please subscribe. If you're bored and you're wanting something to listen to, you can go hit up our sister station, Heart Shaped Leaves After Dark. We love you guys so much. Peace out. Later, taters. Bye.
I am burning it down. I am burning it down.
And now a big, dirty shout out to all my little dirty plant enthusiasts out there. Seven Puggy, Cindy C, Abby Gilbert, Ace Cadet, Alexandra Chilton, Alexis Solly, Amber V, Amy Cook, Amy Powell, Angie McGee, Anna Dreesen, Ashley S, Barbara Lindbergh, Beauty Isn't Perfect, Bren, Bubble Beauty 25, Carl Jr., Carly Grinnell, Casey Dillon, Charlotta R, Chris Felice, Chrissy Spencer, Christine Woosney, Colleen Coyle Levy, Crazy Plant Lady, Cuties with Cardi, Danielle Holt, Darren Heppel, Diana Anderson, Elizabeth Graceful, Ellen Louise Pasco, Evie, Felicia Yeager, Fenner Lamb, Fiona, Goncalo Martins, Haley Eblin, Haley Hetrick, Haley Kester, Happy Little Bush, Heather Summers, Hells Bells, Holy Coley, Isabella H, Jamie Ellis, Jake Rowe, Jana Vieira, Jaya Rowe, Jedi KCC, Jenna Maria, Jessica Stanford, Jessica Viola, Joe Howard, John Alexander, Joseph L. Simmons V, Julia B, Caitlin Carr, Cassandra Hines, Caitlin Harvey, Kathy W, Kaylee Logan, Kelly Rice, Kelly Hodgson, Kimberly Mossman, Not Dude, Christy Bim, Crystal T, Kaya Hauser, Lacona Snyder, Lauren Loves Plants, Life's a Garden, Light Owl, Lynn Therese, Liz Swank, Lulu's Leaves, Mary Mar, Medusa's Mess, Megan C, Megan Lily, Mev Ham, MF Webb, Michelle Waters, Mortessa, My Clean Leaves, Nadine Guzman, Nesta Humphreys, Nicholas Constant, Nikki Toller, Peanuts Plants, Raylene Hillhouse, Ricky Molbeck, Reese's Roots, Samatha Teparity, Sarah Jones, Seth Miller, Sophia Rogers, Steph Miller, Steph W, Tanya Houtsager, Tanya Von Black, Teresa Oakley, Tiffany Wright, Trojan Viking, Turquoise Fibers and Foliage, Fernie Zoo, Victoria Feltenberger, Victoria Fonseca, and Wesley Lemontino. And now an extra dirty, extra nasty shout out for all my dirty plant hoes out there who get to enjoy monthly lives and admittance into our private Facebook group. Annie Ryan, Alana Treese, Allie Wells, Allison Havens, Amanda Mervine, Amy Walton, Amy Baxter, Andrew Wolf, Adria Hewitt, Anna D, April Robinson, Arlisa B, Ashley Noland, Ashley Williams, Aubrey Puff, C. Woe, Caitlin Phillips, Chelsea Clifton, Cheyenne Burnett, Christy Stewart, Danny Sprague, Deanne U. Santos, Sterling Music, Denise Tomer, Diana Warner, Donna Ratcliffe, Emily Forhay, Gab, Gingerly Life, Haley Stanley, Heather Lamb, Honeybird, Houseplant Heather, Jennifer D, Jenny Vanderbilt, Jill C, Jordan Delaney, Juan Z C, Justin Hartley, Caitlin Guavi, Chris, Carla Diaz, Katrin, Krista D, Lawrence the Plant Hoarder, Lara Juno, Lindsay Daniel, Maggie Corder, Mary Boots, Mark Strahl, Maureen Wines, Megan Earls, Melissa Hartog, Mel's Planty Plants, Michael Hart, Nicole McCaw, Odd Avocado Tree, Oops, I Sold My Planties, Phoebe DeBover, Plantastica, Simonetta, QR, Rachel Marsala, Real Estate Tulsa, Rhiannon C, Riley Elizabeth, Robin, Root and Leaf, Sammy Joe, Ruby, Sarah G, Sarah J, Sasha Arujo, Spotted Oreo 10, Stacy Anderson, Tara Peterson, Terrace Plants, Tropics in the Midwest, The Fiber Circus, The Hatter's Madness, The Plants Channel, The Plants Meow, The Turtle, Tracy Buzzle, Tyler Frakes, Valerie, Whitney McHugh, Winter Notley, and Zachary Young. I am consistently blown away by y'all's support. I am ever so thankful for your guys' involvement in my little plant world, and I am just truly, truly grateful. I hope that you guys have a wonderful week. Don't let nobody treat you like trash. Rachel said you could do whatever the hell you wanted to do. Go out there and kick some ass. We love you. Bye.
You give it to me freely now, and even though I don't deserve